Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. I have been told by my guides to do 3 a week, and at first, when I was told this, I just very humbly answered, okay, you're only going to have to tell me exactly what to say because I used to think that one time a month was difficult. And now I'm asked to do this 3 times a week. So it's like I don't question though what it is that spirit wants me to do. I just go ahead and do it because these times are not normal. And these times there are so many people that need additional help. And if one thing that I say can help somebody get through the experiences that they're going through, then it's absolutely worth whatever investment in time that I've put in. And talking with guides, talking about guides, that's probably one of my favorite subjects because I have had the knowledge of the presence of my guides probably from the 20s. Prior to that, all I know is that I heard voices inside my head that constantly gave me hints as to what to do, and I did it. And anyway, I was very, very. I never really thought much about it. I just thought I was smart, and never really realized that. Oh gosh, does this happen to everybody? No, that never crossed my mind, and didn't mention that to anybody. But the subject of today's talk is how your guides communicate with you. Because in my lexicon, everything means something. And there is an endless variety of ways that your guides reach you. And because everyone responds to a different message, to a different theme, to a different time, and to a different place. So effectively, I want to cover every single one that my guides told me to cover at this time. And the first one that they wanted me to cover was that your guides reach you through numbers. And this is very common when you think of groups of numbers. And it could be something like 489 that could appear in multiple places. So, but the ones that were common for me was 444, 777, and then when I was really paying attention, 111, 222, 333, 555, 6, and obviously not 666 because that doesn't appear on the clock, but the others absolutely would show up. And every time I would stop and realize, oh my gosh, I need to have clarification on something. And sure enough, if I made a decision and one of these set of numbers would either come at me or I go flying by it because they appear on a license plate, then I really was very, very grateful because it was kind of like, that's correct. You're on the right path. Especially for me, I was born on the 7th of May, 5 for the month of May, 7, which I consider one of the highest spiritual numbers. So that when I saw 777 go flying by me in a car, then I knew that, yes, I'm given a high five from my guides, from my angels. And another favorite one is 1212, 1111, 1010. And so I always pay attention when those groups of numbers show up for me. And the irony is that when I need confirmation, when I need validation about something, I'll be completely oblivious. Then all of a sudden, look up, and there's my particular set of numbers or a particular set of numbers. So you decide best for what is showing up for you and how to use those numbers as meaningful to you, because there's no one who can guide you, but effectively each person might have a different meaning. This leads me to the next step, which was, or the next grouping, I should say, which was messages on license plates. And there was a time where I had taken my, I had been introduced to A Course in Miracles. And so I had taken my license plate and I had a vanity plate named Miracles. And so, and I purchased a rim that said A Course in, and then the word miracles. And then at the bottom was student/teacher, because I both studied it, but I also was part of a group that that did it independently. And I recognized from my time with them, with this group, is that every single time I opened my mouth, it was because I was saying something the group needed to hear. So I realized, oh, I opened my mouth, I'm a teacher. Every time I listened, I'm a student. And this was a great kind of knowledge for me, because at that time I was so determined to break into full-time spiritual teaching, but I didn't know how to do it. And I kept thinking, I have enough to say for like 20 seconds. How could I possibly command the attention for an hour or two in teaching something, or much less a whole day? But again, this was part of my process. This was part of what I had to learn for myself, that it was okay to take baby steps towards this and towards teaching about spiritual stuff. While I had that license plate, and I had it for years and years and years and years, maybe 20 years, and then I finally gave it up because I got a new car. License plate went with the old car, and but I started collecting all the license plates that I saw that actually had spiritual messages. And I'm going to read just a few of them. AMZGRS, Amazing Grace. God loves us, GDLVS US. God's car, GDS space CAR. Blessed to be me, BLD, number 2, letter BME. And this one cracked me up, because when I saw this one go down the road, he HEZ space Lord, then immediately I thought, so is she. So I kept looking for that one to come up. Never did find it. But anyway, there were so many others that were there. And this is actually on July. This is the July 12th meditation for Own Your Power. This is Heavenly Messages on License Plates. So any of you who have the book and are reading it know that you read two pages a day. And it's just a fantastic way to kind of alert you to what else is out there, number one, but number two, how you also can influence the public. Okay, so that's messages on license plate. The next one was messages through books or magazines or newspapers. I know there was one time that I was debating whether or not to go to a class in Richmond, and this was going to be to hear uh, Marianne Williamson, James Redfield, and Neil Donald Walsh. And the whole thing was with me is that I had so many other things I had to rearrange. So that was my problem. And so got the I just asked for confirmation that any one of the three names of those three authors, if they were either spoken to me, texted to me, um, given any kind of information about them, somebody sent me a reminder, I would then just know that that was confirmation. Well, and again, for what I ask for is three confirmations that I'm supposed to do something. In this case, I got four. So it's like, just in case you're not listening, pay attention. Yes, you are supposed to do this. So that was a really interesting. I'm outside and it's awfully wet out here, so I'm getting super hot. Anyway, but the other time, this was really so intriguing to me. This was right at the beginning of following my spiritual journey. I took and was just browsing through the New Age section. This is just when New Age was just kind of coming into being. And it was like this book had headlights on. It just beamed its light at me. And it was Many Lives, Many Masters. And so as I read that, I think I read three-quarters of the book right there before I walked out the door and purchased it. But then I realized, yes, I had to expand my own understanding of what it meant to be on this planet, because I had been born into the Polish Catholic faith. And of course, reincarnation was never an issue that we talked about. In fact, the Bible wasn't really mentioned. It was always just the catechism and the gospel that we went to Mass for. So effectively, that was a huge unfolding for me. In fact, I was so excited about reading that book that when I brought it home, I gave it to friends of mine. And I thought, oh, they're highly religious. And so they will love this. Well, they came back within a couple weeks and they said, Alice, this is the work of the devil. You are to stop reading this. You are to stop pursuing any of these things. And for the first time in my life, I really started to understand what it meant to be a fundamentalist. I never really had a clue as to what that meant. So anyway, books absolutely give you messages, titles, words on magazines, words that appear in your emails, words that appear on your newspapers, always give you messages. The same through songs on the TV, songs on the radio. And it was interesting because yesterday when I was doing a fast walk through Burke Lake, which is basically next door to me, I heard the song from Bee Gees from, I think, 1979, Staying Alive. And I thought, oh my God, if that's not a theme song for today, because as the coronavirus rages still across the country, and the hot spots, where when one hot spot fades, another one, takes its place. So staying alive is very much a a, a song that's pretty relevant. Its lyrics are pretty relevant to today. So listen for what comes in on the radio, on TV, on the podcasts, on anything that you have to do with where you actually have a song come in. Also, messages through friends and family, and I'll be talking about this a little bit later when I talk about telepathy. But for right now, just know that not only do messages come in from your friends and family who are living, but they also come in from your friends and family who have passed on. For example, you might be in a jewelry store and you might be deciding on whether or not to buy a certain piece of jewelry, but you kind of have this sense of buy it, buy it, buy it. That could be your grandmother urging you to buy that. Or you could be standing in a cosmetic store, kind of torn between two shades of lipstick, only wanting to purchase one of them. And then you hear, that one looks fabulous on you when you put a particular shade. And you think, oh, well, that was my own mind. Not necessarily. That may be a friend or a family member that really has your best interest at heart and knows that with a tiny bit of encouragement, they can push you to select one that is much more pleasing to the eye. So friends and family are always to be paid attention to. The next thing are the hunches that we get. Hunches are, and it's kind of what I would say is almost a feeling inside of you to do or not to do. And sometimes it's more than just a feeling. Sometimes it's an outright scream inside your head. Sometimes it's like, get out of here, or stop, or whatever it is that you need to follow, or don't go in. Absolutely. You hear a voice inside your head that's a warning. Pay attention to it. Do not just dismiss it as, well, what is there to be afraid of? You don't know. And until you get that checked out with somebody else. The next thing is either nagging or persistent feelings that keep coming through you. And nagging or persistent feelings can accumulate because effectively God is trying to reach you. Your direct connect to God, what I call DC to G, a direct connect to God is through your feelings. So it's like, pay attention to how you feel. Your heart could be telling you something, your mind could be telling you something different. Pay attention to your feelings, because your feelings are going to be the guide that you need to follow. I can't tell you how many times I have given readings to people about, especially to women, about relationships. And I would ask them point blank, didn't you feel something about this? Didn't you sense the danger? Didn't you feel the awkwardness in the relationship? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. Sometimes they absolutely don't want to admit that there was anything wrong. But then usually I find out about it later when something has gone horribly wrong in the relationship. So, absolutely pay attention to your feelings. Um, the last one is messages through birds, animals, reptiles, insects. And I'm going to spend a whole session on this. So, my next session on Friday will be on this because of the fact that this is such a large category. And I do want to share with you some of the meanings of the birds, reptiles, insects that have come into my life. So I thank you for watching. If you have any other questions about what I offer, my website is www.alicia, ALICJA, Jones.com. And the reason I went with Alicia Jones is number one, Alicia is my birth name. And number two, the person who had the domain on Alice Jones wanted $3,000 for it. So I thought, since I have another name I can use, why not use it? And that's how I ended up with Alice Alicia Jones. I so thank you for being here, and I'm just so pleased that to be part of this, and I will see you on Friday.